Environment management is a topic which is sometimes difficult for people to grasp, mainly because the definitions are quite varied. If you had a number of people in a room and asked them to define environmental management, you'd get a number of different answers. They'd be similar, but they'd be different nonetheless. So I think the best thing to do is to offer a definition, and the most widely used one is that it's the management of our interaction with and our impacts upon the environments in which we work. Crucially, it's not the management of those environments to suit our own needs, as the definition sometimes implies. As I'm sure you'd agree, Wales has a diverse natural environment and is renowned for its natural beauty. But we are putting increasing pressures on these environments and systems, something that the Welsh Assembly Government wants to address. They've implemented a number of legislations and regulations to help us steer us in the right direction. They're also supported by the Natural Resources Wales, who are the regulatory body for those legislations. So they will come to sites, make sure that you're complying with environmental regulations on site. And that's not just the principal contractor, that is with the SMEs that we employ too. So it's important that everybody has an understanding of what the issues are on site so that they can control their own impacts. With an increase in focus on environmental compliance and legislation, obviously there is a need to understand where your impacts are, where you're going wrong, what you need to do. A good way to do that is having an environmental management system, because what that essentially does is it puts in a set of processes which help you to identify what your impacts are, what legislation you should be complying with, and then some structured control measures to comply with those regulations. And crucially, from Sir Robert McAlpine's point of view, we will look for our supply chains to have those control processes in place and make sure that they can comply with all the legislations and then in turn help us comply with them. The ISO standard for environmental management system is 14001, and what that is it is a structured approach to the management of the risks associated with the environment. And what a company has to do is have a systematic approach to procedures and processes implemented across their business which help them identify their impacts, implement control measures across the business to make sure that they can comply. But it isn't a wide, broad brush approach, it's very specific. So your control measures on one site will be different to on another. It depends on what risks are associated with each individual site. Continual improvement is something which is a vein through environment and sustainability. It's a discipline which has innovation and collaboration as a sort of key philosophy. So the ISO standard wants to continually improve. It's no good just staying at a level. You have to demonstrate that you have processes to improve throughout. Well, we've had an environment management system, or an EMS, in our company for over 10 years now. And it's not just the responsibility of the environmental staff. It's been integrated across our whole business. And that's the key point. You have to have it integrated across the business to have a benefit. I've seen some real business benefits in actually integrating an EMS. For instance, we've reduced our environmental prosecutions across the board. We've improved our waste performance, so that's improved our bottom line because we don't have to spend money on landfill tax, we don't have to spend money on waste gone off site. We've been more resource efficient in our use of materials. Again, this all helps bottom line. So we've seen not only an environmental benefit into implementing the EMS, but there's also a real business benefit.